to the southwest of West Point. And still a little difficult to see there, but just to the left there of the radar site is the region that we're watching for that possible tornadic rotation. It's that region right there in yellow. That is the reason why we have that tornado warning issued. This is also moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So we'll put a track on this, and this does include southwestern parts of Jefferson County at the moment. Moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. That would put it in West Point, more or less now at 10:53, Fairdale at 11:16, Okolona 11:24, Highview 11:29, Fern Creek 11:33. Now, those portions of Jefferson County aren't in a tornado warning, but you should still be on high alert for this in case of an extension of this tornado warning, which goes until 11:15 p.m. And just to double check on, yes, 11:15 p.m. Moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. I will switch back here. We'll check out the velocity on this. It's that area right there heading towards West Point, just to the west of Davidson, that I'm keeping a very close eye on right now at this time as we get close to the top of the 11 o'clock hour here. So we do have a couple of tornado warnings in addition to a severe thunderstorm warning. I'm looking at this area along US Highway 31 West. This is to the west of Crest. Earlier, I was seeing some possible signs of a debris pattern. I'll put back on our debris tracker there. Crossing Kentucky State Highway 251. Got some very broad, it's sort of a messy signature, but that is also indicating the potential that we could have some debris in that area. So we're going to be watching out for that here very, very closely. Pardon me for any pauses that I have as I am looking at multiple different screens at once here. Currently don't see anything on our Metro cams, but I will be turning our camera to the west and we'll get an eye on that again. Let's see here. Camera is currently to the west. I will show you our Metro cam here. And don't see too much in the way of lightning activities. The camera works to refocus itself, but this is pointed in the general direction of that tornadic storm that is headed in our direction right now. Looks like we have a plane coming in there too. There's currently nothing falling in downtown Louisville. We don't have any rain at the moment, but we do have a couple of tornado warnings that we're currently watching at this very late hour on this Friday night. The tornado signature that I'm most concerned with is just to the north of E-Town. The tornado warning does not include E-Town, but it still goes until 11:15 p.m. It looks like they have shrunk it just a little bit, and we'll check out the velocity wind speeds again on this. Rotation there isn't looking quite as strong as it was before, but still you should take those tornado safety precautions if you live near Crest, if you live in Booth, heading towards Lebanon Junction and Younger Creek. There again is that tornado warning in effect for you at this moment. And tornadoes at night can be particularly dangerous because you cannot see it. Even during the daytime hours, you're not necessarily guaranteed to see a tornado. So it being nighttime, in addition to some heavy rain around it, not a safe situation. So please don't go outside to try to look at it. Just go ahead and get down to the lowest level, most interior portion of your home, away from outside walls and windows, and stay there until the tornado warning has expired. Taking a broader look at our entire viewing area, we just have this one line of storms moving through, and we had been talking about the potential to see some severe weather for us all day long at about this time. And I still believe once we get these storms to cross the I-65 corridor, we're going to see a lesser threat. But for the meantime, I am watching two areas of rotation. The area that I'm most concerned with is just to the north of E-Town, where there are some potential signs there of some debris signature. We're looking at this area right here to the north of Crest on State Highway 251. That, as I'll draw a little circle around it here. It's this region we're watching for the potential for some debris. It was a lot tighter earlier. It was a lot smaller of a region as it was passing to the south of Rhineyville and just through Craft. So right there, we possibly could have had a little touchdown, but it's now become a lot more diffuse, which is a good thing as it continues to push eastward at this moment into eastern Hardin County. I'm also still looking at this tornadic cell that's near West Point at the moment, showing on our SDS. This is the radar at the airport that can see this just a little bit better there. Not seeing it's very broad rotation that's there, but if we check out our velocity, we'll still kind of see it right there over Cosmodale. This is sort of right on top of the radar, so it makes it a bit more difficult to see. Turning on some more velocities here. This is just to the north of West Point. So Cosmodale, you should seek shelter. Fishtown, you should seek shelter. Barreltown, you should also seek shelter. This is just to the south of PRP. This barely includes Valley Station, but you should still go ahead and take your tornado precautions. Same for if you live in Rosewood. Medora as well. Go ahead and seek those tornado safety precautions. Chelsea Smith also joins us here right now. Given that this particular cell is right over the normal radar site that we use, I'm using the radar that's at the, well, really it's in northern Bullitt County near Mount Washington. This is used for the National Weather, for the Muhammad Ali International Airport, and this is just in a better position that we can see that storm that's to our south at the moment. So I'll click that off. I will turn back on our velocity for this cell in Hardin County. And the rotation there is not looking as great as it was before. It's a lot broader than what it was before, which is good. And this was the type of threat that we had been mentioning for tonight, the possibility of seeing these quick spin-up tornadoes, and that is currently what we are possibly dealing with here. No confirmed reports of a tornado, but there were some debris signatures earlier in this cell that was in central Hardin County that had passed near Rhineyville earlier, specifically near Craft, which is south of Rhineyville there just a little bit. Chelsea, I'm going to hop on the wall, please, if you would take over.
Of course.
Radar controls for me. First, I'm going to put on a couple of storm tracks here because these storms are moving to the northeast, both of them at 35 miles per hour, so they're fairly slow moving, which does work in our favor in the sense that it gives you extra lead time. So I can only have one of those boxes up at once. So for this Jefferson County storm that's moving into southwestern Jefferson County, approximate arrival time of about 11:13 p.m. for Fairdale. Hillview arrival at about 11:16 p.m., 11:20 in Okolona, 11:25 for Highview. There's no confirmed tornado with this. We have not had any spotter reports on this storm either, but you still need to keep a very close eye on that, and you also still need to go ahead and take your tornado safety precautions as the storm continues to move downstream. Chelsea, let's move down here and put a storm track on this cell that's just to the northeast of Elizabethtown, heading towards Lebanon Junction. And this is also moving at 35 miles per hour to our northeast. It'll be near Boston by 11:11, Booth by 11:05, so only about 5 more minutes. Colesburg at 11:02, so more or less right now. There's always a couple minute delay with these radars compared to what's actually occurring in real time. Near Cravens by 11:24 p.m. Now this tornado warning does include just a tiny little snippet of Nelson County, but it is effectively not in Nelson County. This does not include Bardstown, but you still need to be aware of that right now. And we'll go ahead and put this, we'll clear off these warnings and put that into motion as well, Chelsea, please. And we'll look at both of these together. We'll leave it right there at that zoom level. And we're going to be checking that rotation. Let's get the current image. We're going to be watching this area of rotation that's entering extreme southwestern Jefferson County, south of Valley Station. We're also going to be watching for this area of rotation that's in northeastern Hardin County to the north of E-Town. And Chelsea, do you see anything in chat possibly about extending or issuing new warnings with this?
They are just going to continue to have that tornado warning.
All right, so that's good for right now because that means they aren't necessarily seeing signs that would indicate that they should extend that warning or issue a new one. But if they do, of course, we will be here. So let's go ahead, just click play on that, and we'll just let that loop all the way through, and we'll see how these storms have developed over the last hour. They are weakening a little bit as they move across I-65. I've been saying for most of the evening, there just isn't quite as favorable of an environment east of I-65. So a lot of these storms will start to lose some of their strength, lose a little bit of their punch, and that's hopefully what we will continue to see here over the next few minutes, particularly with this cell right here as it approaches I-65, really looking a lot less strong and a lot less organized than what it was. Let's go ahead and put velocity back on, please, and we'll check out those wind speeds. But, well, I say that, but now that we look at wind speeds, we do have some pretty good rotation right here just to the north of Colesburg, and that's actually improved just a little bit now over the last couple of minutes. Let's step back in time a couple of skips there, Chelsea, and see how that appears. All right, so as it was approaching US 31, it's very, very broad, but now as it continues to move to the north of Colesburg, we are seeing a little bit of tightening there with that cell, and it is coming towards Lebanon Junction. So if you're in Lebanon Junction, seek your tornado shelter right now. That's the lowest level, most interior room of whatever building you are in. Booth, you are also in the path of this right there along I-65, and we're getting a new scan in. Okay, so this is turned to the north just a little bit. I would still be in your safe spot if you're in Booth or in Lebanon Junction, but the latest scan that just came in has moved that area of rotation just a little bit to the north. This is largely in a rural area, which is good, but of course there are still people that live in rural areas, and we can still have damage that occurs. And speaking of, put on the debris tracker and we'll see if we have any indications there. Not really seeing too much. That's good. Yeah, let's step forward through that. All right, so I'm not really seeing any consistent or firm debris signature, although it looks like there might have been a little something that occurred over Booth, Kentucky, and right there along I-65. Switching back to our velocity view, we'll see where this rotation is again. It's just to the north here. We could have a little secondary rotation right over Booth, but the latest scan did kind of turn that to the north just a little bit. Let's go ahead and go back to Jefferson County and see what the current status is on that cell. They also have not issued any new warnings. Chelsea, switch to the airport radar because that's going to have a better look at it, and then we'll look at the wind speeds on that. Yeah, so it's this region right here, kind of right there on the Ohio River, also trying to move off to the north and northeast, and we'll take a few steps back in time and look at the progression of that as well. Excuse me. So as that moved through West Point, right there, we had some pretty good rotation. Still rotating up right here, might be tightening just a little bit as it tries to move northward towards Valley Station. So if you live in Valley Station, I will go ahead and seek your tornado safety precautions. This tornado warning is in place right now for parts of southwestern Jefferson County until 11:15 p.m. Also looks like we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning pop up. So that would be a continuation of that tornadic cell near Lebanon Junction, but it looks like they just have put in a severe thunderstorm warning downstream of that. Chelsea, what's the information on that severe thunderstorm warning?
This one is for Bullitt and Nelson counties, and this is going to go until 11:30 p.m. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, and we're going to see about penny-sized to small-sized hail with this storm as well.
So the evolution of this storm in terms of the hail has gotten smaller, and also the wind speeds have also decreased. There were a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings on this cell before we broke in for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and hail up to the size of quarters. So now we're only seeing hail the size of a penny and wind gusts of 60 miles per hour. So that is indicating some signs of weakening, which is of course very, very good. I still want to focus on this tornado warning in southwestern Jefferson County, and we'll put a track on that as well. They still haven't put out a new warning warning, which is good, but still be prepared just in case, and especially if you're in Valley Station. So this is moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. Chelsea will put a storm track on, and we'll see some estimated times of arrival, assuming that it maintains its current path and its current strength. So just be on the lookout, be on alert if you are in Fairdale and Okolona, and we have a new tornado warning that was just put in. Okay, so current time is 11:05 on our Friday evening. A tornado warning has just been issued for parts of Metro Louisville. This does include the heart of the county. This includes Fern Creek. This tornado warning is until 11:30 p.m. So Chelsea, let's go ahead and switch back to the normal radar, the one at Fort Knox, and then we'll get in super close here and continue to look at this storm as it continues. So this includes, let's pull out just a little bit more, and we'll pull to the right. Yes, right there. So Iroquois Park, Fairdale, Okolona, Audubon Park. This includes the International Airport, Buchel neighborhood, just to the south of Germantown, also up towards St. Matthew, Fern Creek, Jefferson Town, the Anchorage neighborhood, off towards the east end. You should go ahead and take your tornado safety precautions right now on this Friday night. Tornado warning is in place until 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time for a possible tornadic supercell thunderstorm that is rolling through Metro Louisville right now. There's been no confirmed reports of a tornado, but we have seen concerns that there could be some rotation. Chelsea, let's look at those wind speeds again to see where exactly that rotation currently is, and it's right sort of there near Valley Station. It's a little bit on the broad side, but as it continues to move away from the radar, we'll get a better look at it. But it's kind of right there along the western parts of the Gene Snyder Freeway, and it's continuing to push off to the northeast. So again, if you live in Iroquois Park, Fairdale, near the Ali International Airport, Okolona, Buchel, Audubon Park, go ahead and seek those tornado shelters right now. There is a tornado warning for central Jefferson County. This is also going to continue off to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So this gives us estimated arrival times in Fairdale at 11:16. Or estimated arrival in Heritage Creek at about 11:20. 11:24 for Okolona. Estimated arrival in Newburgh at 11:27. ABC Childcare, if you live in that general location, that would be around 11:29. Near Buchel at 11:30, and near Jeffersontown at 11:37. Let's show our normal radar again, Chelsea, and give a better idea of where we have some of this heavier rain that's falling. Are there any indications with hail with this storm, are they saying?
They're not saying that right now. They're just more worried about the possibility for that tornado.
Okay, so as terms of rainfall, just seeing some really light rain falling through most of Metro Louisville at the moment. Very heavy rain will be moving into Valley Station right now, then soon possibly PRP, seeing some more moderate rain falling over Shively at the moment. Put this into motion, please. We'll check this out over the last hour and how it has continued to evolve. And it started off back here near just to the west of West Point, south of Brandenburg, tightened up a little bit more as it crossed the radar site, and we're still seeing some concerning rotation signs as it moves through central Jefferson County at the moment. But let's also move down south just a little bit, because we did have one tornado warning down there. All right, so near Lebanon Junction, just a severe thunderstorm warning. It's exited this tornado warning area, but you're still at a risk of seeing some of those stronger wind speeds up to about 60 miles per hour, and of course some very heavy rain. All right, Chelsea, let's go back up to the Metro. We'll also, if you can, find a Metro cam that's looking southwest in that region. If you take our U of L camera and point that south, that will probably be able to get us a good shot of that. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and put our velocity back on here. So it's this area near Valley Station that we have that concern with. It's very broad rotation. It's not very tight rotation, but it's still rotation that's there. And of course, it's night. This is moving through a heavily populated area, and this is why that tornado warning has been issued. And earlier, there was a much stronger sign of some rotation as well. So Valley Station, Iroquois Park, Fairdale, go ahead and seek your tornado shelter right now. And just to be on the safe side, I will check debris tracker. Not really seeing much in the way of potential debris, which is always very good. We just have a bit of noise out there on the radar. So I'll switch this back to velocity, and it's still looking pretty diffuse to me. I don't see anything that's really too tight, but it's going to be that area near Valley Station that we're watching pretty closely here. I will loop this over the last hour and it has lost some strength as it continues to try to turn to the north just a little bit, but it's kind of right there along the Gene Snyder Freeway. This is the loop of the last hour, and it's that region right there that we have the most concern with. Over Valley Station, this is just south of PRP. I would go ahead and still be inside if you live in PRP, just to be on the safe side. Fairdale, you should be in your tornado shelter right now. Iroquois Park, Louisville International Airport, that same region. Okolona, that neighborhood, also go ahead and be in your tornado shelter. Let's take a current look at this right now. We don't have any other new warnings that have been put out, but we will put a track on this as it's moving to the northeast at roughly 35 miles per hour. Fairdale, estimated arrival time of about 11:17, so here in roughly 6 minutes. Okolona, 11:24 p.m. Butyl, 11:30. Fern Creek, 11:34, and Anchorage at 11:44. So this is a tornado warning for central Jefferson County until 11:30 this evening. So we're running on here about another 20 minutes or so with this. There has not been a confirmed tornado, but there is radar indicated rotation that's concerning enough that the National Weather Service has put out a tornado warning. Add in the fact that it's nighttime, and these are particularly dangerous situations at night when you have the threat of a tornado because you just can't see it, and that's why this warning has been put in place. So again, estimated arrival time in Fairdale of 11:17, Okolona at 11:24, Fern Creek at 11:34, Linden 11:39, Anchorage 11:44. That is assuming that this storm maintains its current strength and intensity as well as its path as it continues to cut through the middle of Jefferson County and Metro Louisville at the moment. Chelsea, do you see anything new in chat?
They were talking about how the rotation, or it really weakened as it moved into Jefferson County right after they issued it. So they're going to be watching that closely of whether or not they're going to let it go if it doesn't improve or get that a little bit more of that organization.
As in cancel it or
yeah, they may let it go early.
Okay, well that's very, very good news. I'm still going to be concerned about this area near just crossing I-65 to our south near Scuffletown. I still want to pay attention to this because we do still have some signs of rotation just past I-65 to the east headed towards Scuffletown and Ridgetop. Although there's no tornado warning, I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up putting one out of an abundance of caution. So still go ahead and be inside if you are near Scuffletown and in Ridgetop there along I-65 to the south, just to the north of Lebanon Junction. Obviously, the biggest area of concern that we have is for us in Metro Louisville right now. And that area that I was just talking about was in southern Bullitt County. But here in the metro area, really not seeing that rotation signature that we were seeing earlier, but still near Fairdale, Iroquois Park, Louisville International Airport, and Okolona, go ahead and seek your tornado shelter. Again, that's the lowest level, most interior portion of whatever building you're in, away from those outside walls and windows. You might be hearing the tornado sirens going off right now as well. And because we had earlier rotation with this, a tight appearance of rotation just to the west of Jefferson County, and because it's night and this is moving through the heart of our viewing area, they've gone ahead, the National Weather Service, and put out that tornado warning out of an abundance of caution. So Butyl, Okolona, near the Ollie International Airport, Audubon Park. This is south of Germantown, near Fairdale, in between the Watterson and the Gene Snyder Expressways. Go ahead and be in your tornado shelter just out of an abundance of caution. But as Chelsea was saying just a moment ago, the rotation with this is not looking as tight or as strong as it was before. So there is a possibility that the National Weather Service will cancel this tornado warning before 11:30. But in the meantime, we're still going to stay on the air and keep an eye on that for you just in case. Chelsea, can you please draw a track on this again, and we'll get some updated arrival times and start right, let's wait for this new scan to come in. Okay, start right there about where my finger is, kind of near that 841 signature. All right, and this is moving off to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So some updated arrival times. Okolona at 11:21, Newburgh at 11:24, Butyl 11:27, near Fern Creek by 11:30, Jeffersontown by 11:34, near Anchorage at 11:41, and near Crestwood at 11:50. So again, go ahead and take that tornado shelter precaution for you right now. That's the lowest level of your home, preferably in a basement outside of those walls and windows. And let's go ahead and move south really quickly because I still want to look at this area near in southern Bullitt County near Scuffletown. No tornado warning on this at the moment, but we do still have some rotation here and probably some pretty strong wind gusts along the leading edge of this red band right there. This severe thunderstorm warning is for wind speeds up to about 60 miles per hour, which is severe criteria. This is also moving at 35 miles per hour. If we can put a track on this one really quick. Scuffletown, it's over you right now, and moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. That would put it in Scuffletown more or less now. Hobbs at 11:22 near Brownington at 11:26. These are some smaller towns that aren't on the map, but Highgrove by 11:36, Crenshaw at 11:43, excuse me, and Taylorsville off here in Taylor County by 11:43. So still going to keep an eye on that, but that is just a severe thunderstorm warning at the moment for heavy rain and particularly the strong wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour. Chelsea, any new updates on your end?
Let me check real quick. I have not been seeing any additional information out of the National Weather Service at this time.
Okay, well, let's center back up here on Jefferson County, and we'll put on our traditional radar view to get an idea of how heavy some of this rain is falling, and we can see that polygon just a little bit better. They shrunk it slightly, so it's right still through the heart of Jefferson County and most of Metro Louisville. So Okolona, you have some fairly heavy rain. Heavy rain has been falling near PRP and in the Shively area. The heart of downtown also seeing some light to moderate rain, but there's no warning for the heart of downtown, which is good. Just barely includes St. Matthew, so you should be seeking shelter as well. Still go ahead and be in your tornado safe space if you're in Buchel, and this doesn't include Anchorage or Fern Creek or the regions near Tom Sawyer State Park off in the east end, but you should also still be on alert and go ahead and just play it safe and seek that tornado shelter. Not seeing too much lightning with this either, nor have we had very many signs of hail, which is good. This has just been for rotation that we've noticed on radar that this tornado warning was put out.
And we do have some more information. Someone just sent in saying there has been a report of a viewing funnel aloft going over house near Cecilia. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. Several reports of power lines down southwest and north of Elizabethtown or E-Town City. Some damage reports, nothing yet confirmed.
What time did that come in?
That just came in around 11:15.
All right, let's go ahead and hop down there really quick and check that out. Still a severe thunderstorm warning for for parts of Nelson County and Bullitt County. This is really more so for Bullitt County until also 11:30, I believe you said. Let's zoom in a little bit closer there and put it to the south, and we'll put another track on that, and we'll check out the wind speeds just to confirm that we still don't have anything too concerning there to look at.
Which storm would you like me to track again?
The southern one here in Bullitt County. That's still moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour, so you can expect an arrival time in Ridgetop in 2 minutes now. Pretty much. Lotus 11:23, Brownington 11:26, Lenore about 11:31, Waterford 11:34, Taylorsville and Taylorsville Lake 11:50 and 11:55. Let's clear that and we'll put on our radar wind speeds just to have another look at that, just because there is still some broad rotation in that area, and I'm still concerned about this little region right there. Weather Service hasn't put out a tornado warning, which is good. That means that they're probably not quite as concerned about it, but this is just to the south of Lotus and to the south of Brownington. You're probably experiencing some very strong winds up to about 60 miles per hour, if not a little bit stronger than that. So still go ahead and be in your tornado safe space and just don't take any chances. This is at night, and it can be extremely dangerous at night when you have severe weather like this because you just can't see it, especially when it comes with the risk of some tornado warnings. Speaking of, let's go back up to Metro Louisville and check out that situation, and we still have that tornado warning in place until 11:30. This is current time is 11:19. Not really seeing any signs of rotation over the metro area, which is good. There were much stronger signs earlier when these tornado warnings were first put out, but we still probably have some very gusty winds here. Let's see what those wind speeds are just to the south of Ollie International and north of Fairdale. Did they just drop the warning? Oh, okay. Excuse me. So about 60 miles per hour wind speeds, and right there just to the south of the airport, I feel like we have a tighter, a little brighter color there. Let's see what that speed is. just south of the airport. Okay, also still about 60 miles per hour. So still some pretty strong wind speeds regardless, and those are still likely making it down to the surface at the moment. And switching back to our regular radar view, seeing where some of that really heavy rain is falling. Right here, approaching Bardstown Road. So we'll get in a bit closer there onto Fern Creek, just this, that little region, yeah, near Buchel. Okolona, Buchel, you're getting some of that pretty heavy rain. This will be arriving in Fern Creek and Jefferson Town, also near Asheville soon, within about the next 10 minutes. So we still have that tornado warning in effect for the next 10 minutes for central Jefferson County on this late Friday night. Let's show the entire viewing area at the moment, because as this threat is continuing to cross the region, we are still going to be watching for the concern for some severe thunderstorms. But right now, there's still some activity in southern Indiana. None of that is severe. We also have activity that's south of Bardstown along I-65, but that also is not severe, and there is nothing on the backside of this line. This is actually the cold front that's starting to move through the region. Let's loop this, Chelsea, over the last couple of hours, and we'll see it work its way through here. And I'm looking for right now any signs of possible weakening as this line of storms crosses I-65. I've been saying earlier that we just don't quite have as much of a favorable environment east of I-65, so as these storms cross, there should be some weakening there with them. And if you live east of I-65, probably still going to experience some pretty heavy rain and some strong wind gusts, but hopefully that really strong severe weather threat will continue to diminish as we continue through the rest of our evening. Let's take a current look at what we have ongoing at the moment, and then we'll get back in here onto Metro Louisville and see what where we have some of that heavy rain falling right now. So that severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Bullitt County has been shrunk, so it's pretty small there, but we still have some rotation. That's until 11:30, so about 8 minutes now. Also up here in central Jefferson County, we have our tornado warning. Very heavy rain moving into Fern Creek at the moment. That tornado warning also until 11:30 p.m. Let's throw on the radar wind speeds again, please, and we'll analyze that to see if we have any signs of rotation over Metro Louisville, and we do not particularly see anything.
They were still seeing some signs of rotation in Jefferson County, and they're going to continue that tornado warning. They just sent out the update until 11:30.
Okay, so they're going to keep that warning in place until 11:30. It looks like they even shrunk it a little bit more there. Go ahead and zoom in a bit closer so we can just see some of these wind speeds. Right there along Ollie International between Audubon Park and Okolona, we have that strong area of wind. So it's this region right here where we have those strongest winds. Those are going to continue to push off to the east, and then we'll see Buchel coming up here fairly soon as well. Megan, you were telling me something. Please repeat.
Excuse me?
Okay, excuse me. Then go ahead and put a loop on this, please, Chelsea. So earlier, as this was crossing the Ohio River, we had some pretty tight rotation there near Valley Station, but it's really weakened quite a bit as it's pushed to the east, thankfully, but we still have some pretty strong winds over I-65 and near the Ollie International Airport. And we'll switch on the normal radar really quick. We'll see where some of that heavy rain is falling. We haven't had any reports of hail, which is good. We still have had and I was just been told from MetroSafe we haven't had any reports of damage in Jefferson County. So that's the good news. No reports of damage in Jefferson County from MetroSafe. Just some very strong rain and some gusty winds, but no damage reports, which is obviously very, very good news, especially when it's this late and on a Friday night, nevertheless. But Buchel, you're getting some very heavy rain just to the south of St. Matthews, also approaching I-65 along here in the heart of Metro Louisville. Shively, you've had some very heavy rain at the moment, and this is going to continue to push off to the north and east there. Currently,
and the airport just had a report of a wind gust 59 knots, so it's definitely very strong as it goes across the airport.
So a little over 60 miles per hour is roughly about what that converts to. But Iroquois Park, Ollie International Airport, seeing some of that very heavy rain. Also getting some heavy rain here at the studio. I can't hear, our walls are pretty thick here. but heart of downtown and near Germantown seeing some of that heavy rain. Let's move back to the south really quick. I just want to look at that severe thunderstorm warning, which is also in place until 11:30 p.m. So about 5 more minutes on that. Brownington, you're having some of that very heavy rain at the moment, and also towards Highgrove and Cox Creek. We just had a new scan come in there, but we don't have a tornado warning that's out. That's what's important, but you're still probably experiencing some very gusty winds up to about 60 miles per hour. It's right there where we had this little bowing segment in that broad area of rotation that we also saw over Brownington, not looking quite as tight as it was before either. So this is a sign that we could have a little bit of weakening here. And we also haven't seen any discussions yet of them issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning or continuing this threat as it continues to push off further to the east. Let's go ahead and pan up to Metro Louisville really quick just to get another look at that.
Also confirming it was 68 mile per hour wind gusts. So even if there hasn't been a tornado, or if there wasn't a tornado on the ground as it moved over the airport, strong winds like that can still cause some damage.
Yeah, straight line wind gusts can be very destructive themselves. So almost a 70 mile per hour wind gust reported at Ollie International Airport within about the last 5 minutes. And it's really this core right here. That's where the strongest wind is as it continues to cross Metro Louisville and is headed towards the Buchel area at the moment. So still be in your safe spot. Even if we don't have a confirmed tornado or a more favorable environment for a tornado, we're still seeing some very, very strong winds up to about 70 miles per hour. And this is going to continue to move pretty much parallel to the Waterson and push off further into the east end. We'll eventually see that cross I-64. Chelsea is putting a track on this right now.
And the National Weather Service did say, given that near 70 mile per hour wind gusts, they're planning on going with another tornado warning downstream.
Okay, so the Weather Service will put out another tornado warning here for parts of Metro Louisville. This will also likely extend further eastward into parts of Oldham County as well. That'll be coming in the next few minutes. So Douglas Hills, Anchorage, Worthington Hills, Pee Wee Valley, and Crestwood, go ahead and get down into your safe spot away from those outside walls and windows, because we have had some very strong winds reported with this storm as it moves through Metro Louisville for tonight. Here's a diagram of where that safe spot for you would be. The basement is the best place for you to go, but if you don't have a basement, you can still get into a hallway or a staircase or an interior closet and protect yourself. You can bring some pillows with you or some blankets. Also, if you have a bathroom you can get in that isn't connected to the outside, you can get into the bathtub and also cover yourself up with some of those blankets and pillows. Standing in front of those words there. So you want to avoid those windows, doors, and outside walls. Cover yourself with a blanket or a mattress or some pillows and stay there until the threat has passed. So we see that new tornado warning that just came out now. This is until midnight for eastern Jefferson County. This is just south of Prospect. This includes Anchorage, the eastern area of Louisville, also extending into parts of Oldham County and Crestwood, just south of Goshen, along Highway 71, Interstate 71, as you move to the northeast. And since the winds are the biggest concern here, I want to focus on those wind speeds. We had a 70 mile per hour wind gust reported at Ollie International not too long ago. So as we put on our our radar wind speeds again, we're still seeing this area right on top of Buchel, also there near Newburgh. You're probably having those very strong wind gusts right now, but at last report with MetroSafe, we have not had any reports of damage across Metro Louisville, which is good, but any loose, unsecured objects are definitely going to be getting blown around quite a bit. Also working in our favor, we have not had any hail reports either, so this is primarily just a very strong wind threat, but since we're still looking at this little pulse right here, this core of strong winds that have been making it down to the surface, this is why the Weather Service has gone ahead and put in that tornado warning again until midnight for eastern Jefferson County. Hurstbourne Acres, Jeffersontown is also included in that. Also, St. Matthews is just right there on the northernmost edge of it. It's just to the south of Prospect, continuing into Crestwood. Moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour, that would give us arrival times of Buchel now, St. Regis Park at 11:33, Linden at 11:37, Worthington Hills at 11:46, Pee Wee Valley 2 minutes later at 11:48, and Buckner just before midnight. Let's put on our normal radar again so we can see those warnings a little bit better.
And it also looks like they've continued that severe thunderstorm warning a little farther to the south. That now includes Taylorsville.
Yes, I see that. Okay, so how long is that?
And that one goes until until midnight as well.
So that includes Bullitt, Nelson, Shelby, and Spencer counties there in central Kentucky, south of Metro Louisville. But our biggest concern is still that tornado warning that has been the new one that has been issued until midnight for eastern Jefferson County, continuing off into southern Oldham County now. That includes Crestwood, Anchorage, Linden, Prospect, the East End area near Tom Sawyer Park, Northfield as well. St. Matthews is included in this. Also just to the north of Jefferson Town. That original tornado warning has just dropped off the screen, but let's put on our wind speeds again because it's going to be right here along the Waterson, just to the south of St. Matthews, where we see probably that strongest wind threat as you move further east, east of Germantown, east of the Highlands, and north of Buchel. Wind speeds were reported earlier at Ollie International Airport of about 70 miles per hour, so that is why they've gone ahead and reissued that tornado warning until midnight for the eastern half of Jefferson County on this late Friday night. Let's put on our radar again so we can see where some of that heavier rain is falling and also where that heavier wind speeds, where their stronger wind speeds are. So just right there north of Buchel is also just to the north where that heavier rain is. So St. Matthews, you can expect some very heavy rain to arrive very soon. It'll come on pretty quickly. Also in the Highlands region, also just exiting Germantown, some very heavy rain will also be moving in. Anchorage region, you're seeing some of that heavy rain, not quite as heavy. Linden area as well along Shelbyville Road. Also, excuse me, there south of, right there along the Waterson Expressway. There's Linden, there's Plantation, there's Hurstbourne. So those areas are going to be experiencing some of that heavy rain moving in fairly soon. Also near Meadowview Estates, Mockingbird Valley, these reds and oranges are showing you those very heavy rainfall rates that are coming down at the moment. And again, those wind gusts up to about 60 to 70 miles per hour.
Also, we had additional reports out of Hardin County where they are saying, this is from the Kentucky Electric Cooperatives, where they're saying that there is damage report in Hardin County with numerous electric lines down, and there are also reporting some of those power outages too.
Where in Hardin County was that?
Right now, they didn't give really any specifics on where that was, but I'm assuming that's going to be pretty close to where we had that report earlier.
Okay. So
and also some outages are now coming in Meade County and in West Point. Nothing confirmed, but this storm in Jefferson is causing some damage.
All right, so Megan, our producer in the booth, if you could try to get a hold and confirm on some of those power outages and relay any of that information that you might learn, please, that would be greatly appreciated. We have this tornado warning for Jefferson County until midnight. Current time is 11:32 p.m. and very heavy rain moving through the heart of Metro Louisville at the moment. No confirmed tornado has been reported. Let's get that information out there if you just have been tuning in. There's been no confirmed report of a tornado. There have been a couple of reports of some funnels, but we also have had some very strong wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, and that's the primary reason why this tornado warning has been put into place at this moment, as we have very heavy rain that's falling in St. Matthews right now. It will be approaching the Waterson Expressway south of Northfield, and then continuing on eastward through the Anchorage area and towards Linden Lane and the Tom Sawyer State Park region, if you know where that is. In the East End as well. Chelsea, let's go ahead and put a radar loop of this for the last hour, and we'll see what the progression of this has been. So we're just watching that transition or continue to evolve. Still has some very, very broad rotation with that, but as it continues to push eastward, east of I-65, we will hopefully begin to see a little bit of weakening with that. But at the moment, some heavy rain falling over Metro Louisville, right there along the Ohio River between St. Matthews up to Northfield, also including parts of southern Indiana, of course, near Jefferson Town as well. Excuse me. I'm going to take a drink of water.
And it also looks like it is has been staying just south of downtown Louisville, as you can see. So, and it looks like it's about to clear that area, but still, St. Matthews, you're still under this warning, so you need to be taking shelter at this time.
Let's get in on street level here. Let's get in super close again and point out some of these specific streets. So we have Broadfields, St. Matthews, Rolling Fields, Also seeing that very heavy rain right there along Zorn Avenue, Mockingbird Valley, Pee Wee Reef Road, Cherokee Park Road as well. Continuing off, excuse me, I just had some water and now I got a burp. Continuing off to the east. Linden, you're kind of in a bit of a lull at the moment, but you're going to see some of that heavier rain pushing in here within probably the next 15 to 20 minutes. Same for the Hurstbourne area. Meadowview Estate experiencing that heavy rain and probably some of those very strong wind gusts at the moment. Let's leave it here for a second. Highcliffe Avenue experiencing that very heavy rain rates at the moment. This is Cannons Lane. Bon Air Estates just to the north of you, also there along Bon Air Avenue, and again continuing to push to the east at 35 miles per hour, soon to cross the Waterston Expressway. Let's go ahead and show a broader view, and we'll put another track on this just to give some updated arrival times for.
Also, kind of right between St. Matthews and Hurstbourne, it looks like we've had some reports of the power is flashing in Hikes Point.
Okay, so we could be dealing with some potential power outages across Metro Louisville right now. That's because of wind speeds that we've noted earlier of about 70 miles per hour. So let's actually, yes, put on those wind speeds and we'll do a little analysis over here near the Hurstbourne area near Wildwood. This is Linden, Whips Mill Road there, LaGrange Road, and let's check out.
Whoa, that's a little high. But that's really strong.
So this is aloft. This is above the surface by a couple of 100 feet, but we're still seeing some pretty strong indications of wind speeds that could be making it down to the surface of over 70 miles per hour. We know for a fact that there was almost a 70 mile per hour wind gust at Ollie International Airport earlier this evening, and now we're seeing some very strong winds moving across Hurstbourne there. Or along Hurstbourne Parkway, that's the word I was looking for, possibly up to around 70 miles per hour, if not more. This is going to be crossing the Dorsey Lane region fairly quick, and they're along Moser Road and into Douglas Hills.
And just east of the zoo, they're saying there's about 10,000 power outages.
Okay.
Outages.
All right, so if we can get a power outage map ready to go, we can show that a bit better, Megan, please, in our control room. But Chelsea Smith just reporting there are possibly about 10,000 power outages in Metro Louisville as these very strong winds push through the region on this late Friday night. Let's pull out a little bit more and put another storm track on this. Anchorage and Woodland Hills, you should still be in your tornado safe spot at the moment. Same for if you live in Crestwood. We haven't had any confirmed reports of a tornado, but we have had confirmed reports of very strong wind gusts that could be possibly causing power outages across Metro Louisville on this Friday night. Blue Ridge Manor, it'll be at your location right now. Anchorage at 11:41, Worthington Hills at 11:46, near Crestwood at 11:50, and LaGrange at 12:03 a.m. And this is going to continue to push off to the northeast. We're watching this area right here in particular south of Anchorage for some of those very strong wind gusts that are currently that have been reported and possibly causing some power outages in our area. Real quick, I'm going to zoom out and look down to our south near Taylorsville Lake. Still have some strong gusty winds there, but nothing that appears to be too tornadic, which is always good. We are watching this region right here. We're getting in on street level. So near Dorsey Lane, Ormsby Station Road, Griffeytown, Evergreen Road towards the Anchorage neighborhood, Wildwood on top of you right now there along Moser Road, Douglas Hills, Middletown. Be in your safe spot at the moment because we have had some very strong wind gusts moving through Metro Louisville this evening that have possibly caused damage and have also resulted in many power outages that Heather Fontaine is standing by with more information on that. Heather?
Hey there, Alden. So in Hardin County, Nolan RECC is reporting approximately 2,300 without power. There are lines down around Bethlehem Academy, and there are also some issues that have been reported near John Hardin High School. Here in Metro Louisville, LG&E has reported about 10,000 without power so far.
Where in Metro Louisville are those power outages?
I don't have a specific. Near the Highlands is what I know right now.
All right, near the Highlands is where those power outages are currently ongoing, and about 10,000. Heather, if you have any more information on those, please go ahead and feel free to interrupt me and let me know. They've shrunk that tornado warning just a little bit right now, but it's still in place until midnight. This is for parts of eastern Jefferson County, extending into parts of western Oldham County, south of Goshen. This is right on the border there with Prospect, just on the border there with Northfield. This includes Anchorage, the Middletown area, near near Tom Sawyer State Park off in the east end, and also heading towards Crestwood at the moment. Let's show those wind speeds again, Chelsea, and get back down to street level so we can give a better idea of when you can expect those strong winds to arrive in your neighborhood. Anchorage right now is where we're looking at that strong core of wind speeds right on top of you along Evergreen Road. This is near Bellwood Road, Lakeland region, just south of Tiverton Way, Ormsby Station Road there, also near Linden Lane as you continue to push off to the east. And there's always the delay with radar of a couple of minutes, so you can really take this large area of pink and shift it to the east just a little bit more, and that's probably where those stronger winds are actually at right now there near O'Bannon as you approach the Gene Snyder there, and East Point Place is what I believe that is saying, south of Fraze Hill Road. Let's do some analysis and see what some of those reported radar indicated wind speeds are over the Anchorage area right now as it gets ready to cross 146. Mayor of West Point, I just have been told, reports no power out in West Point. No power in West Point. There are a number of wires down as well. So the mayor of West Point reporting no power and a number of power lines down in West Point. Also just a moment ago, if you did not hear, also reporting about 10,000 power outages across Metro Louisville and the Highlands region in particular because of wind speeds that are over 60 miles per hour and possibly even stronger than that at times. We had a report earlier of almost 70 miles per hour, and we were seeing radar indication of wind speeds possibly up to 80 miles per hour across the east end of Jefferson County. Let's zoom out a little bit more, please, and we'll push this off to the east some, because this is going to be moving into parts of southern Oldham County. We'll get in a little bit closer there. We'll be crossing the Gene Snyder, and our arrival times near Pee Wee Valley at 11:48, so 7 minutes. Crestwood 11:50. If you live in the vicinity of the Oldham County Art Center, that'll be near you at about 11:50 as well. Cernfield 11:56. LaGrange Elementary School about 12:02, and in LaGrange proper at roughly 12:03. And we just had a new scan come in, so we'll get back in a little bit closer. We can see that area of pink has shifted to the right just a little bit more to the east, as I suspected it was actually, and O'Bannon is seeing some of that very heavy rain right now, those heavy rain and strong wind speeds right there along the Gene Snyder just to the north of Anchorage, and we have had reports of power outages across Metro Louisville numbering at about 10,000 at last check. Let's pull out really quickly again, Chelsea. I want to check out the storm to our south really quick. Still no additional warning on that, but we still have some pretty strong signs of some rotation there, but it's not enough to be of a tornadic concern at the moment. This is for central Bullitt, Shelby, and Spencer counties in particular, really for Shelby and Spencer counties is where we're seeing those stronger wind speeds. And let's check out some of those winds right there to the southwest of Taylorsville. Chelsea Smith is in
I just had to drop the warning just for a second so I can get the wind speeds.
So roughly about 53 miles per hour or so. And the severe thunderstorm warning was for wind speeds of about 60 miles per hour at the surface. And we're getting a new scan that just moved in here, so really not too much change there. But Taylorsville Lake region, you're going to be getting some of those pretty strong wind gusts here within about the next 10 or so minutes. So we can put a track on this as well, just to give an early warning as this heads towards the Shelbyville area. So Spencer County High School expecting to see some of those stronger winds by around 11:48. Little Mount by 11:56. Figs just before midnight at 11:59. Southfield just after midnight at 12:05, and near the Shelby County Fieldhouse by 12:13 a.m. So this is for a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. But we do still have that tornado warning that does include the east end of Metro Louisville and extending into parts of southern Oldham County until midnight. Chelsea, do you have any new information from the Weather Service?
At this time, no. They're just going to continue to hold on to those tornado warning and that severe thunderstorm warning at this time.
All right, let's switch to radar really quick. I want to see if we have any signs of weakening with this as it continues to push east of I-65 at the moment. Still holding together fairly well. We got some very heavy rain falling in Goshen along US 42, also in Prospect right now. This is continuing to cross the Jefferson-Oldham County lines, and let's put this into motion so we can track the evolution of this over the last hour. And it is still pretty strong. You can see how it's been feeding in just a little bit, maybe getting a little bit more strengthening here near the Goshen area, but still looking at some pretty strong wind speeds. We call this a mesocyclone to get technical here for just a second, but we do still have some very broad rotation with this entire storm. Let's also look to the south and check out that storm near Taylorsville as well, just to see how that appears on radar and the evolution of that over the last hour.
And then National Weather Service said that at this time they do not plan to extend that tornado warning downstream, but of course, just like us, they're monitoring that very closely.
Great, that's great news. So that tornado warning that's currently in place for parts of eastern Jefferson County, also extending into Oldham County, currently has about 16 minutes left on it, and the Weather Service as of now is not planning on extending that warning. That's very, very good news. However, it's still important for you to be in your safe spot at the moment, and we still have had signs of very strong winds and extended in some reports of damage across Jefferson County, also further to the south in Hardin County, and multiple reports of power outages. Heather, do you have any new power outage updates?
Yeah, so it looks like now there's still about 9,700 without power in the Highlands. Again, that's around the Gardner area. We also have another update from Metro Safe, who says they have downed lines around New Cut Road and Star Lane.
Okay, around New Cut Road and Star Lane, we have reports of some downed power lines in that region. Chelsea, we do have a camera in the Prospect area. That's our Northeast Metro camera. Pull that up, please, if you can, and we'll switch over to that to see what exactly we can see. Probably not too much. There hasn't been very much lightning with this. It's just been very, very strong winds, but nevertheless, you can still get lightning strikes, of course, and that can also result in some power outages. So Chelsea's working on getting that together. We're looking at these two areas right here. Severe thunderstorm warning for Taylorsville. That goes until midnight. Also this tornado warning that as of now, the Weather Service does not plan on extending or issuing a new warning for parts of Jefferson County, also into southern Oldham County until midnight as well. As Heather was just reporting, we still have about 10,000 power outages in Metro Louisville at the Highlands area near Gardner. There have also been reports of power lines down near New Cut Road. Also have had reports of some damage in power lines down in central Hardin County, also near West Point, where we have had reports of several power outages as well. So please go ahead, Heather or Megan, our producer in the booth, keep feeding that information to me and interrupt me if you have anything else important to note with that.
Sure, Alden, and I do want to be clear, when we're talking about the Highlands, we're talking more about the Upper Highlands area. So that's near Strathmore Village and Gardner Lane, not, closer to Broadway and Bardstown Road.
Okay, so some clarification there. I appreciate that. Still about 10,000 power outages, and LG&E will be working on restoring power there, and MetroSafe was reporting those power lines down near the New Cut Road area. But as of now, we still have this tornado warning that's in place for about the next 13 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get in here a little bit.
Also, Alden, out of St. Matthews, there was a 58-mile-per-hour wind gust through that area, too.
All right, so St. Matthews region reported a 58-mile-per-hour wind gust. That's just below severe criteria, but we still have this tornado warning in place anyway, just because of how strong some of these winds have been earlier as they were rolling through the metro area. So still moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. There's no extended tornado warning, nor is there planned to be one at this time, but you can still expect to see some of that heavy rain and possibly very strong wind gusts in LaGrange by 12:04 a.m., near Pendleton by 12:14 a.m., and also heading even further upstream towards Campbellsburg along I-71 by 12:26 a.m. and by DeVille by 12:31 a.m. So again, we still have that tornado warning that's in effect. This does include parts of Anchorage and eastern Jefferson County near the Prospect region as well. That's going to continue to push off across the Jefferson-Oldham County line and then hopefully continue to weaken here over the next several minutes. So Chelsea, if we can get that Prospect camera ready when you are able to, please. We'll take a look outside to see how things are looking.
Yeah, it is ready. It's hard to tell since it's so dark on the camera, but if you want to take it, you can.
All right, let's look outside. Right.
Hold on, let me switch it over to the current one.
We are looking out though over southern U of L campus, and thankfully we still see a lot of the city lights on, so it looks like it's a very isolated area that has that power outage here in the metro. Go ahead and switch over to Prospect and we'll see just what we can see there. We have some water on the camera lens, and traffic also looks like it's moving a little bit slower, but we can see, so maybe some, I can actually see the water being sprayed up there by the tires on the car, but it looks like traffic is moving just a little bit slower. Roads are probably very wet, and we still likely have a bit of rain that's falling as well. So here's a look at this general line of thunderstorms. I will loop this as well over the last hour. and we see that it's...
And they said they are canceling the tornado warning in Jefferson County.
All
so
right.
they have just extended it into Oldham.
All right, so that's good news. For Metro Louisville and Jefferson County, there is no longer a tornado warning. They have canceled that. So the tornado threat at Metro Louisville has now come to an end. So if you are in your safe spot, you can go ahead and come out. Just be aware, though, that you might find some debris outside. And this new tornado warning, well, excuse me, the current tornado warning is very, very small, covering I-71 in the southern portion of Oldham County there, just to the north of Prospect. We still have power outages being reported here and at Metro Louisville at the moment, numbering about 2,000 in the Upper Highlands region, according to Heather Fontaine, and some down power lines in the New Cut Road area. But as for now, we just have this lone tornado warning for about the next 10 minutes in southern Oldham County, just to the north of Crestwood, near Dimpleytown, also just south and east of Goshen at the moment. And wind speeds up to about 60 miles per hour have been reported. We had a report coming out of St. Matthews of a wind gust of near 58 miles per hour not too long ago. So that's part of the reason why we have had some of those stronger wind reports and possibly some of those power outages. But the core of this wind, this highest little wind core here, has continued to shrink a little bit. It's not looking as large as it was, nor does it appear to be quite as strong, but still seeing wind speeds of around 68 miles per hour. This is several hundreds of feet above the ground, so not all the time does this wind speed necessarily translate to the surface, but it has been for tonight. So near Centerfield, right there along 22 Brownsboro Road, you're seeing some of that strong winds at the moment. Also south of Park Lake, just passing through Crestwood. It'll be out of your neighborhood here in just a few minutes as well. Chelsea, let's switch back to our normal radar view, and I want to show the entire viewing area again, because this is a very narrow line of thunderstorms that we have rolling through, and really we don't have too much lightning that's being detected by radar. And notice as this continues to push east of I-65, we are seeing signs of weakening because the environment over here just isn't quite as favorable. So the strongest region that we have is right there in Oldham County, approaching Newcastle and then into Trimble and Carroll counties as well. But as this continues to push east of I-65, we're going to continue to see some weakening. We don't have any other severe weather warnings that are in place right now, except for what's there near Taylorsville. That will be expiring in 9 minutes as well. And notice that there's nothing back here behind us. They just put out a new,
Yes.
So they just put out a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's the extension of this tornado warning here. So LaGrange, Newcastle, and parts of Henry County there, just south of Bedford and Carrollton. That is until 12:30 in the morning for wind speeds up to what does it say?
It is going to be up to 60 mile per hour. So, and also the small hail, so not seeing that quarter-sized hail with this.
Okay, so that's also good news, and this is telling us that that storm has weakened quite a bit as it continues to move into an environment that's not quite as favorable for its life cycle. But we still have that tornado warning for another 8 minutes, so we will stay on the air until that tornado threat has passed, and that severe thunderstorm warning is also in a place until 12:30 in the morning. And outside of that tornado warning, this new severe thunderstorm warning, and that severe thunderstorm warning to our south, that's all we have going on at the moment. And after this line crosses your neighborhood, your severe weather threat for the evening is going to be done. And you're also going to notice some very quickly falling temperatures. Going to be quite raw tomorrow for our Saturday. Cloudy with patchy drizzle throughout the day, and temperatures in the afternoon only into the 40s. But right there along, just to the east there of Bardstown as you head towards Springfield, also seeing some pretty heavy rain moving towards Willisburg, but not severe at the moment. Go ahead and loop that, please, Chelsea, and we'll just check out how that has also evolved. And it also looks like it's weakening a little bit more as it crosses through Nelson County, and just not really seeing too much in the way of lightning. And this is actually starting to leave out of our viewing area, so that's also pretty good. Let's put on our velocity again. We'll check out Oldham County and get an update on some of those wind speeds. And again, we just have that one tornado warning. Some stronger winds there just to the east of Crestwood. And there were reports earlier of about 60 mile per hour winds moving through St. Matthews, 70 mile per hour winds moving through Ollie International. And we saw some signs of some possibly stronger winds than that earlier too. And speaking of St. Matthews, Heather, do you have any power outage updates?
Looking at the map Right now, Alden, earlier we were telling you there are just over 10,000 power outages. Now it looks like there are around 10,700. So there's been a few more. I'm kind of looking at the map here. It looks like there's been a few in areas around West Buchel and then a little bit closer to Linden as well. But then again, of course, the majority of those power outages, around 9,700, are still focused in that upper Highlands area.
All right, so we do have some spotty power outages across Metro Louisville still. Obviously, LG&E is going to be working as fast as they can to get those back online. And we also did have some reports of some down power lines near Newcut Road. Have you or Megan, have you heard of any other damage reports across Metro Louisville or across our coverage area?
Sure. To reiterate, there are some lines down around Bethlehem Academy and issues near John Hardin High School as well, and that's in Hardin County. And again, Nolan RECC is reporting approximately 2,300 without power.
Okay, so just some spotty power outages. Obviously, we don't want anybody to not have power, but it's not as widespread as it could be. So those will hopefully get that power restored here relatively soon. So let's go back up here. We're still going to stay on the air until this tornado warning expires. That's our policy. As long as there's a tornado warning, we'll be on the air for about another 5 minutes here. And we'll turn on that normal radar view and track that cell as it continues to push off to the east along along Interstate 71. And even just looking at this latest radar scan, we've got a band of heavy rain there from Bedford down to LaGrange, but it's not looking nearly as strong or as organized as it was before, which is very good news, but it still could produce some wind speeds up to 60 miles per hour, if not a little bit more than that. LaGrange, 12:02 a.m. LaGrange Elementary just after midnight. Campbellsburg at 12:23. Drennan Springs at around 12:34 in the morning, and near Worthville by 12:39 a.m. Chelsea, anything new in the chat to report?
Not at this time. We just still have that tornado warning, which has been extended downstream to a severe thunderstorm warning, and then a little farther south, we still also have that severe thunderstorm warning, but it looks like Taylorsville, it looks like the strongest part is now to your northeast.
And also just to the south of Shelbyville, so you'll probably experience some of that pretty heavy rain here momentarily as well, but as this little tail end here passes through LaGrange, you'll get some pretty heavy rain and some strong gusty winds, and then the threat will be done for you. But we have noticed some pretty significant weakening with this as it's crossed I-65. All right, we're going to send it back over to Heather Fontaine. Heather, you have Reed Yaden on the phone, correct?
Yeah, meteorologist Reed Yaden seems to be in Hardin County with one of our photographers, Don Humphris, seems to be looking at some damage. Reed, what can you tell us that you see?
Yes, you see a roof off a structure there. This is on Spears Road near Cecilia. There's also, I need to tell you, if you're in that area in Hardin County, along St. John's Road and Spears Road, there's a lot of power out. A number of lines are down, and this is the area where John and I observed on radar a debris field. It kind of verifies what we were seeing. We're investigating the area here, check for more damage and exactly what's going on. Also, the mayor of West Point is reporting power is off in West Point. We will eventually work our way in that direction as well. In the West Point area, they have a number of power lines down also. We're getting here right now mostly very light rain and not a lot of wind. So at this point, it's a matter for emergency management officials to determine exactly the extent of the damage here and begin to get the full picture of what's going on. But we do know we have some extensive power outage around Cecilia and Hardin County. So
and
that's what we have at the moment, Heather. Yes.
While you're driving, are you seeing a lot of debris on the road? Is it kind of hitting your car? Do the roads seem pretty clear, or are these winds kind of affecting travel too?
So far, we haven't had any major debris on the roadways. We've seen the usual debris as you come across. We were St. John's Road. There's some tree leaves and the like, small tree limbs, but nothing major in that particular regard.
And Reed, you can
power outage.
Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to let you know the power outage really starts in the 3000 block of Spears Road. That's where we noticed it's just past a substation, and we did did note a crew was at the substation when we passed there. Power was on there, but get to the 3000 block, you run out of power. For those of you in the Cecilia area, that's a little locator for you, give you an idea of what's going on. But to your point, when you get close to the location where we are, you've got the usual power lines across the roads, so you need to be aware of that if you're going to be out traveling. You could run into that situation. The sheriff has deputies here blocking the road at the present time.
And Reed, I mean, you've been chasing storms for a very, very long time. How strong do winds have to be able to pull a roof off a structure like that, like what we're looking at right now?
It depends. It depends on the structure you're looking at, and we also the radar signature that John and I were looking at was at the time the warning was issued. So I think the question is, was this the result of a tornado touchdown? If it touched down, how large an area did it impact? That part is what we're getting into now. But to your point about the winds it might take to take a roof off, depends on the structure really. It just depends on the construction of how it's constructed and so on and so forth. You can start getting roofs off when you get winds upwards of 60 miles an hour, so which you're getting in the threshold for a severe thunderstorm. Whether this was a tornado or straight line winds, we're unsure, but it certainly was in the warned area and it was showing up. The debris field we observed on radar, so tells you something.
Yeah, thank you so much, Reed, for joining us on the phone again. That's meteorologist Reed Yaden in Hardin County showing us a structure with what looks like the roof torn off. We're going to go back to Alden, German now. It is now 12:01. Has that tornado warning been lifted?
It has been lifted. That's the good news, but this is where Reed is at. Cecilia, very, very small community here. That's where he was reporting that roof torn off there, and the National Weather Service will send out a damage survey team tomorrow to investigate whether that was straight line winds or a possible tornado that caused that damage there, but we do still have some power outages in that location. Chelsea, let's pull out the map really quickly and just show the broad area that we have at the moment. There are no tornado warnings. We have this weakening line of thunderstorms continuing to push to the east. Just a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place until 12:30 for Oldham County, extending into parts of Henry County and also into parts of Trimble County. Just some heavy rain and wind speeds up to about 60 miles per hour. Same for the storm that's moving through Shelby County at the moment. We're going to continue to track this at the moment, but for right now, we're seeing a diminishing severe weather risk, which is very good. We still have some power outages across the metro area, but stay with us and we'll continue to keep you advised. Heather?
Again, Alden, thank you so much for keeping us informed. We'll continue to track these storms throughout the evening on the web and on our WHAS11 app. But again, remember that the tornado warnings have been lifted. So now let's take a look at some of our top stories. Metro Corrections Director Dwayne Clark announced his retirement today. Again, thanks for joining us on the WHAS11 night team. I'm Heather Fountain in for Doug Proffitt. His 3 years overseeing the department end with repeated no confidence votes and an investigation into the jail. The WHAS11 night team's Tom Lally has our top story.
First named director of the Louisville Metro Department of Corrections in 2019, Dwayne Clark's final months overseeing the jail were riddled with scandal.
Can you do much worse? I mean, I guess you could. I guess we could have had 8 people die instead of 7.
7 people died in Metro Corrections custody in the last 4 months. Clark received 2 no